Yes, it is that time once again. What's going on, guys? It's the one and only Lee Sanders here. You're checking out a special edition of the RCWR show as we are talking WWE Extreme Rules 2018 Fallout. It is our after show. Got a little bit of reverb. You guys got to bear with me a second here. There we go. That's better. How the hell y'all been, man? How was that Extreme Rules pay-per-view event overall? Yay? Nay? I definitely want to hear from you guys. Sound off. Now, I do have a poll that is available on Twitter right now. Twitter at the RCWR show. You guys can sound off that way and let me know what you had thought about tonight's WWE Extreme Rules event. And we do have a poll that is coming to YouTube shortly. Taking a little bit easy tonight as far as how we're going to be streaming it. You guys got to forgive me for the couple of seconds of delay as I was trying to sync in our Facebook audience because we're streaming live via the RCWR show app available for free in the Google Play Store. Just search the RCWR show or RCWR. And we're also streaming on Spreaker and on YouTube. So shout out to those of you that's joining us live or those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. But we could not sync in our Facebook audience. Once again, nothing wrong with my system setup over here. It's kind of weird. Past 2 weeks in a row, we were able to bring in our Facebook audience, but now this week, we're not able to bring them in. So I'm not sure what the hell is going on. I'm not sure if it's a Facebook technical error or what, but hopefully our Facebook audience, they know by now where to come, right? So as I mentioned, we're going to be putting up a poll shortly for you guys on YouTube. It's going to be on youtube.com/the RCWR show. You guys will be able to click on the communities tab and you'll be able to see the poll that way. But come on, man. We're going to be talking about this. I got to tell you, man, it was pretty decent. I think that it ended on such a good note as far as the Intercontinental Championship. I got to give WWE a lot of credit. I'm not sure who was in charge of booking a majority of the matches, some of which were some clusterfucks. We will definitely talk about that in a hot second. But with regards to the Intercontinental Championship match, closing out Extreme Rules, I'm not sure if anybody has saw that coming. I don't recall any of my colleagues, even as far as predictions go, as far as the match order, what's going to close out, what's going to close out the pay-per-view event. Nobody jumped out there and said that the Intercontinental Championship was going to close out the pay-per-view. So I thought it was a very nice, cool surprise that we saw the IC title wrap up a night. And, I want to extend on that a little bit more, which is I think it's pretty impressive that whoever had the idea and really pushed forward to have the IC title close out the pay-per-view event, just how much more emphasis is being stressed on the Intercontinental Championship match and really trying to make it be very relevant and really make it be that true secondary championship that so many of us remember from back when we were teenagers or little kids, right? I think that's pretty badass that they're really trying to go back to basics on the Intercontinental title. And I saw a little bit of debate that was coming about online as far as when was the last time the IC title had closed out a pay-per-view. And you had a couple of different opinions that were put out there, but a majority of the people were saying, no, Money in the Bank 2017. That was the last time an IC title had closed out a pay-per-view. So I did not properly research that. So for those of you that maybe want to do that research and let us know before we end the stream tonight, you guys are more than welcome to sound off. Yeah. So I've got the poll going over to YouTube here right now for you guys that's checking out the stream. And I'm putting in some options right now for you guys here, looking right at it. Let me just type this up real quick, and then we'll definitely go ahead and we'll talk about this pay-per-view. I thought Philly did okay tonight. The Philly crowd, yeah, I thought they represented tonight, as now all eyes are set on SummerSlam NXT TakeOver weekend. That should be pretty, I'm actually pretty excited. I really sincerely am. I'm really excited. Saw the pre-show. Pre-show had a couple of matches that actually was pretty solid. I actually had enjoyed seeing Cien Almas take on Sin Cara. You know, we've had several weeks of a build up with these guys pretty much ever since Cien Almas had came on over to the SmackDown roster. We had saw Sin Cara be one of the first people to welcome him with open arms because the two of them have history. They go way back. They hit the road together. They've had many matches together. So it was kind of like, hey, it's an old amigo. Hey man, how you been? What you been up to? Ain't seeing a good minute. What's new? What's shaking? And well, we saw Zelina Vega. She pretty much just cut that. Any type of camaraderie that Sin Cara was looking to build with Cien Almas, that just pretty much went out the door. And Sin Cara really not liking the tone, really not liking the demeanor executed from one Vega. And that eventually would have the trickle down effect to Cien Almas. And pretty much as far as your instant Acme feud, really not too much there. You can pretty much just make the argument that Cien Almas feels that people like a Sin Cara is beneath him, that he is nothing more than a peasant, that he should not even be bothered mingling in the likes of that of one Sin Cara. So I guess you can kind of say that's eventually how we had got to the match that we had got earlier tonight during the pre-show. I would have to say though, the boys, they actually did pretty good on the pre-show. For my money, I thought it was actually a pretty good opener. Oh, and forgive me, guys. I believe I had said WWE was in Pittsburgh. I did not say Philadelphia. I'm definitely sure I did not say Philadelphia. I'm looking in the chat room right here, and I see somebody saying WWE was in Pittsburgh, not Philadelphia. I'm pretty damn sure I said Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure of that because I remember it's Kurt Angle's old stomping grounds. So, you know, if I did say Philadelphia, I do humbly apologize in advance. But you know what? That's what makes this show so cool is that when we're live on the air, if there's any type of corrections that need to be made, you guys catch it and you bring it to my attention and you bring it to the attention of everybody else that's going to be checking it out on the downloads and on demand before we pretty much end the stream. I always think it's funny that like once the show is over and somebody notices something was said wrong, they act like we can go back and we can edit the audio and all that after it's already been released. And sadly, we can't do that. If there's ever a time for, hey, actually, correction, this is what went down, it's while we're alive on the air as we're all coming together to try to make sense of what all we had saw with these pay-per-view events that come at us monthly. But I thought Sin Cara and Cien Almas, I thought they had a pretty good matchup. I had no problem with what they did tonight. I'm not going to get into the whole this move was applied, this move, and then all this other. I'm not going to get into all that silly crap. I'm just going to talk about key points. I'm going to talk about things that I thought were of great interest to me, and then just pretty much go from there, you know. One thing that I do want to bring out there, and I'm sure it's a no-brainer to a lot of people, but can I just, before we go on to the next matchup during the pre-show, can I just talk about how beautiful Zelina Vega is? Stunningly beautiful, and she is one that I followed her career since her days in Impact Wrestling in TNA, and her evolution just physically, you know, and I'm not talking about certain parts of her body. I just mean overall, but definitely in the face area. She has really come a long way from her TNA days, and she just gets better and better with time, I must say. And she is without a doubt one of the hottest things that's going on right now. If you're just talking about managers, I mean, she adds such a different layer to Cien Almas. You know, I mean, she really compliments him very well. You know, she almost compliments him. You could almost jump out there and say that she compliments him just as Ricardo Rodriguez brilliantly had basically he complimented Alberto Del Rio, Alberto El Patron, complimented him very, very well. And it kind of makes you wonder who would win if that were to ever go down. Can you just imagine that one for a second? Alberto Del Rio, Ricardo Rodriguez taking on Zelina Vega, Cien Almas. Because a lot of people, well, I think if you're a newer WWE fan, you may not actually know this, but Zelina Vega does know how to wrestle. She's actually pretty damn decent. I would say she's definitely, just to kind of keep a little bit of consistency going with the show for you longtime listeners. You remember what I said about Madison Rayne earlier this week? She's 10 times better than Madison Rayne, but then one could make the argument, well, Lee, just about anybody can wrestle better than Madison Rayne. Hell, Lee, my damn grandmother can wrestle better than Madison Rayne. Some of you may generally feel that, but that's a different topic for another time. However, I see one question that gets put out there constantly, which is, why is Zelina Vega not wrestling right now? She's very talented. Why is she not wrestling right now? I think there's a time and there's a place. I think she will eventually get in the ring. I could definitely see a situation occur where maybe she's doing some type of intergender matchup, if you will, and maybe we'll finally really be able to see what she's truly capable of or whatever. I'm just thinking, like, as far as, since she's been with Cien Almas on the SmackDown roster, I'm just trying to think if she's yet to do anything. And unless I missed a week of SmackDown, because there were a couple of weeks where I wasn't paying attention, I've yet to see her in the ring on SmackDown. Have you seen her in the ring on SmackDown? Let me know. Maybe you can kind of point us in the right direction as far as when exactly. I mean, surely it definitely went down this year if she did do something on SmackDown. I think it's just a matter of around what month to kind of give us an idea of what all had went about. Before I go into the next pre-show matchup, one thing that was covered during tonight's Extreme Rules pre-show, which, by the way, panelists, solid job as always, that consisted of Renee Young. We also had Booker T, David Otunga, and Sam Roberts. Sam Roberts actually coming around a little better this go around. Some days you just, what Sam Roberts reminds me of? Sam Roberts reminds me of corn candy. Not everybody likes corn candy. I can just remember as a little kid, and who can't remember if you were a little kid, when it came to Halloween time, you're trick-or-treating in the neighborhood, and you go to those houses where they gave you that nasty-ass corn candy, right? Everybody had their favorites, right? Yeah, everybody, they either like the Now and Laters, or they love the Snickers, they love the Twix, or they love the Twizzlers or the Skittles. Everybody had their favorites, but majority of kids did not like eating the corn candy. They were just like, ugh. But you had, like, I guarantee you, for like every 100 kids, you would have go to a particular house that was distributing corn candy and maybe some other little yummy treats, right? I'm sure for every 100 kids that you would have, maybe in an hour, that would come to this one particular house that was distributing corn candy. I'm sure that you would probably have about, maybe if you were lucky, up to 20 kids that were ecstatic for corn candy. I mean, it is a unique taste. It is a unique flavor, to the point Sam Roberts, not, you know what? Sam Roberts is much like me. We are two peas in the same pot, because if you check out our great community over at the Epic Sports channel, now, a majority of my clips over on Epic Sports, and shout out to my good friend Epic Sports, and I always see a question being asked, hey Lee, do you get paid for your clips being up there on Epic? No, I receive no type of money whatsoever from Epic Sports. I do not get paid. I don't. I wish I did, but I don't know. Me and Epic Sports, we just have a really good understanding. Epic Sports loves my content. They love what I bring to the table. They think I have a very unique perspective, right? And they say, hey, look, I want to take some of your shows, I want to take some of your clips and put it up on here. Let's see what happens. And hey, maybe you can get a new fan base from the Epic Sports community as a result. So, no, I'm not being paid by them. But I tell you what, when you look at a majority of the content that is on the Epic Sports channel, you see that out of 100%, at least 90% of the stuff that is from me, that's all about from my show on the channel, you see that about 90% of folks really enjoy what I have to bring to the table. However, not everybody is keen to maybe the way I sound, maybe the way I pronounce certain words, or quite honestly, they just don't like me, period. Now, I don't go to bed at night. Why don't they like me? Why don't they like me? I've got better things to do. I'm like less than 3 years shy of hitting 40. I'm trying to prepare for a wedding, which is finally going to go down in spring. We've already got the location and all that coming about. More on that in the coming months. I got to talk to the missus to see if we can get the green light, but I'm trying to see if we might be able to stream the wedding on online, like maybe on YouTube and Facebook for you guys, that maybe would like to be there but can't. So we're trying to see if maybe we can work out a couple of things. But much like Sam Roberts, I'm like Sam Roberts, which is, but then some would make the argument, no, Lee, you're actually better than Sam Roberts. Don't stoop yourself that low. I'll leave that for you guys to debate. But no, Sam Roberts is a unique flavor. Sometimes you want yourself some corn candy, and then other times where's the Twix? Where's the other treats? But Sam tonight actually did a pretty solid job. I gotta give him a thumbs up tonight. Actually did pretty good. He seemed a little bit more mellow tonight. He seemed a little bit more reserved. Didn't really jump out there. He usually has this burst of energy and he's always trying to get his 2 cents in there. But tonight he seemed to be a little bit more on the reserve side, really just letting Booker, Renee, and even Otunga to a degree take the lead more. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if he looked like he is in good spirits as far as like maybe he's sick or whatever. He looked to be okay. So our next pre-show matchup, we had saw the 6-man, what was it, a tables match that had consisted of Sanity. And that matchup, Sanity versus the New Day. That actually was a decent match, but you know what? Even though it was a tables match, like this is Extreme Rules. And you see the commercial that we kept getting all freaking week long. Describe Extreme Rules in 30 seconds or less. And everybody's going, and it's like, and all that other silly little crap. But like this match that we got between Sanity and the New Day, you're keeping in mind it's a tables match, but it really did not deliver as far as the physical brutality. And I would imagine that after everybody had saw what they had saw from that video that went viral before the weekend was out, I'm sure you guys saw it by now. You had like some Russian death match and some guy was on freaking fire and he hit the other opponent with, I believe it was a barbed wire bat that was on fire or something like that. I mean, it was just balls out. What the fuck is this I'm watching? This is rather harmful. This doesn't look safe. But I'm sure people that are seeing that are going, yeah, man, yeah, Extreme Rules. Yeah, I know we're going to get, if not all of these matches, we're going to get at least up to half the card that's going to be extreme. And there was really nothing extreme about this tables match between Sanity and the New Day. It was just all about who was going to take the bump through the table, where pretty much the closing moments of that matchup, we saw Eric Young. He did a leap from the top, putting Kofi Kingston through the table. with a big elbow drop to help Sanity pick up the W. But Sanity definitely needed this win because right now they're the new kids on the block for the SmackDown side of things. They definitely needed this. So this match, you know, honestly, it played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out, especially once I had found out it was going to be part of the pre-show. I was actually hoping that this match was going to be part of the actual card itself, but sadly it was not. Next up, we have our actual pay-per-view card where the fuckery and the WTF and the wait, tell me I did not just see that, right? Not in a Booker T type of way, but just like, no, seriously, tell me I like seriously did not just see that. Like, what the hell was that? On the official pay-per-view card itself, we basically had match one of many fuckeries and just I don't get the thinking behind this one to come. We have new Raw Tag Team Champions as the B Team actually had defeated Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Now, first off, before I really go into this, I know that my good friend Epic, he's gonna be looking at everything that we're talking about tonight, and he's gonna be putting them up. And I know we're gonna have some hardcore fans that are gonna be loving them some Curtis Axel, and they're going to love them some Bo Dallas, and they're going to be in Euphoria and all this other stuff, right? Okay, keeping that in mind. You hardcore Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel fans, hear everything that I'm saying before you draw whatever conclusion as far as he hating, all right? Because that's not what I'm about, okay? First off, let me just say, I've been fans of Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, for many years now. I remember when Curtis Axel had first came on up through the main roster. Wasn't he being dubbed Michael McGillicuddy or something like that? He wasn't even going with Henning yet. And I remember how he had this whole, okay, this guy looks like he has potential. Okay, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. And he eventually made that transition to Curtis Axel. I remember a time period where early on in this young man's career, he was being pushed to the moon. I remember there was one infamous episode of Monday Night Raw, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, because on some things my memory is very fuzzy, but then there's other things I can almost remember as if it was yesterday. But I remember an episode of Monday Night Raw where Curtis Axel had defeated Triple H. Anybody else remember that? So, I mean, this guy was really getting the endorsement early on. He really, really was. And although he did not come off having the personality, the charisma of his dad, just because who he was related to, you really were trying to pull in for him, right? You were really rooting him on because you wanted for, okay, look, we lost Mr. Perfect, you know, so sudden, right? Like this guy had many more years to offer to the professional wrestling business. Lord knows if Mr. Perfect was still alive today, he would probably be a talent recruiter or whatever for the WWE, or maybe he'd be involved in some booking matches, or maybe he would have also, in addition to all of that, made the transition into color commentating. You just never know. But we had hope that with Curtis Axel so young in his career, he would eventually string everything along and we'd be like, see, told you guys. And then you go over to Bo Dallas. We don't need to continue to go down memory lane, but for those of us that followed his career in NXT, we were very high, very, very high on Bo Dallas. Ecstatic when he came on over to SmackDown, was expecting big things to happen for him, but then suddenly things just got fizzled out, was definitely way fizzled out by the time they brought him over to Raw. So, I mean, we have seen these guys in the company putting over other talents for many, many years now. We have. And it's always been a little bit frustrating for some of us because we say, well, what about Bo Dallas? What about Curtis Axel? When are they going to get their time in the sun? Well, what's going on with these guys? And the best thing that I feel that ever happened for their respective career, say what you will, but it was definitely being aligned with The Miz. I think The Miz, working with The Miz, that really did help take them to that next level. They finally had started to win fans over a little bit. And it got to that point where you could take a step back and say, I actually see a little bit of potential with these two. Now, could you maybe see that potential leading to a tag team championship? Possibly, but it would be a long, fought out journey that maybe you came to the conclusion of, right? And I think for a lot of people that were looking at this particular matchup, including myself, never once fathomed the idea of B team. Yeah, they're going to go over Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, right? And I made the argument why I felt that Wyatt and Hardy were going to retain the tag titles. I basically said, look, man, SummerSlam, it is all about your A stars, your B stars. You got to have them out there. I like how I said B stars. So what about Curtis Axel? And you know exactly what I mean. They're more like C, all right? But no, in all seriousness, you got to start pushing them SummerSlam tickets, man. You got to get the gates. It's all about having the best potential card you can have, right? So for me, it just felt like the best analogy I can use, not to be all graphic, all right, but for a more mature audience, you know what I'm saying. It felt like WWE just basically blew their whole fucking load instantly on the B team. I mean, that's just honestly how it felt tonight. It's no different than being on a goddamn date with a woman. You spent weeks buttering up to her, taking the time out to get to know her, really trying to work your way into having her ease that guard down just a little bit so that you can get to that point where, hey, you want to go get some drinks? I got a ticket for Ant-Man, or I know this great little restaurant around blah, blah, blah. You want to go or whatever. And you finally are able to get to that first base. You're taking things, you're supposed to take things slow. You're supposed to, I'll be working my way up to you, babe. You're supposed to be working at it, right? Just keep putting in the time. But no, instead, it just feels like, hey, I need sex. You're here. I'm here. I got a load that I need to get out of my system. Let's have at it. And that's just exactly how it felt tonight. Sorry to be so damn graphic, but that's just literally how it felt tonight. It felt like booking just blew their load. And now comes the greatest challenge, which is, okay, so you've put these titles on these young men. Now what? I've always lived by the philosophy of the chase is better than the catch. I've said that for many years now. Longtime listeners know this. And for me, I think WWE had really missed a golden opportunity to really tell a great riveting story for the B team. That honestly, they could have rolled this bad boy out if they would have done it just right, storyline wise. Everything could have culminated maybe at Survivor Series, right? So, I mean, even a couple of more months that you're investing into these guys, really building them up and everything. And it just really feels as though WWE just hot-shotted this on so many levels, and that's why I've always been a sucker for the chase, because the chase is better than the catch, right? And so now the telling tale is going to be, okay, well, let's see what these guys can do as the tag champions. They're getting their opportunity. Let's see how well they're going to be able to hang on to this. Okay, you've got the keys, run with it. Let's see how long they're going to be able to hold on to it. I mean, we know in the immediate future there's going to be a rematch for those tag titles. You know, storyline wise, Bray, Hardy, you get the rematch, right? They're going to revoke for a rematch clause in the contract and everything. But let's be honest. Do we really believe that the tag titles are going to go back to Wyatt and Hardy? Because if the tag titles are going to go back to Wyatt and Hardy, then basically what you're saying is you did what you did. There's two ways you can look at this. If in the immediate future, Wyatt and Hardy get the tag belts back, like maybe as soon as Monday Night Raw, or maybe they get them a couple of weeks before SummerSlam, or they get the belts by SummerSlam, you could look at it two different ways. One, you could look at it as, okay, well, they kind of just want it for Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel to just be transitional champions till they could kind of scrounge around a little bit and figure out what other plans maybe they had in mind that they wanted to do with these two guys, right? Or you can just look at, in this case, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel becoming the tag team champions as nothing more than the titles, not the title, the titles basically making the man. Basically, what I'm saying, guys, in a nutshell, is that the titles could have just been given to them just so they can be a notch higher than where they were at initially. This kind of boosts their stock up. I'm not talking about merchandise and all of that other stuff, but you could look at it from a booking standpoint from WWE that maybe they were doing this just to try to help take these guys to that next level, right? Especially when you look at what all Bray Wyatt was able to accomplish. Say what you will, even if it was a situation where he was just a transitional WWE champion. He is a former, and you can't take that away from him storyline wise. Bray Wyatt is a former WWE champion. He's a former multiple time tag champion. Matt Hardy, multiple time champion. Pick a championship. 9 times out of 10, Matt Hardy has probably held it, right? With the exception of the WWE Championship, right? He did not hold the big gold belt, if I remember. I know Jeff did, but Matt, as far as I remember, he never did hold the big gold belt. But other than that, he's pretty much held on to every other title outside of the WWE and then some, right? So you can just look at the bragging rights from that standpoint if you really stop and think about it. And I'm kind of led to believe that the latter is why WWE decided they wanted to go on ahead and they wanted to give the tag titles to Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel because they just want to try to take them up to that next level. I'm fine with that, but I just don't like the fact that, you know, it's so hot shot. Maybe one could make the argument, well, Lee, if you don't do it now, while they've got the fans' attention, while they've got some type of a little bit of a fan base, and you try to maybe milk it for a couple of months down the road, that opportunity may go away by then, and then it's just dead weight. So we'll never really know what the true best outcome would have been. All we can do is just deal with the here and the now. And I'm happy for them, but I really wish I could have just, all of us could have just been able to really take a step back and really enjoy the journey more, you know, just clawing and fighting and continuing on, you know. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. If you are, make sure you bring those thumbs up, smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so you never miss out. Great content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Hey, off the break, I want to just say that, and we're going to do our best to keep this sponsorship free tonight, but I do want to recognize our Patreon members. And also, I made a personal promise to one sponsor in particular. It's a new sponsor. We had a little bit of a mix-up with them from this past Tuesday show. Now, long story short, the ad was done. We were supposed to do a voice plug for them. We did do the voice plug, but they were having a hard time finding the ad spot. And it turns out I gave them the raw audio file that was unedited, uninterrupted. They did not get the edited file with the correct timestamp. And so I kept going back and forth with them literally a couple of days ago over where the ad spot was being placed. And they were doubting if I did the work or not. I'm like, look, I did it. And I ended up sending them the MP3. And then I didn't realize till the next day, holy shit. Well, no wonder they couldn't find it. I gave them the wrong audio file. So I told them we were going to make up for them tonight, and we're going to do so once again. This is like the one and only sponsor that we're going to be promoting tonight, because I want to take it easy tonight. I kind of want to have this almost be sponsor free tonight, but I told them I'd do them another solid, and that is I want to recognize Santra Kitchen. SantraKitchen.com. They offer the best and affordable small kitchen appliances, mugs, kitchen culinary tools, and all of these goodies that I just mentioned, boys and girls, comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's right. You have 30 days. And if you're not satisfied with the products that you purchase at SantraKitchen.com, hey, you get your money back. Talk about a win-win situation. So go visit them now, SantraKitchen.com. Almost kind of like Sinatra, but you're saying Santra, and you spell that SANTRA kitchen.com, SantraKitchen.com. Again, selling the best and affordable small kitchen appliances, mugs, and culinary tools with 30-day money-back guarantees. You can't beat that. Check them out today. Yes, love those guys. And also want to give a shout out to our Patreon members. We have not forgotten about you guys. I'll get into some Patreon shout outs in a little bit. Let's talk about some more of these matches that we had, guys. So we just got done talking about the Raw Tag Team titles. Let's go to our next match now. Our next matchup actually was a pretty good one, I felt, which was Finn Balor taking on Baron Corbin. Closing moments of that matchup, pretty much Balor had got a counter on Balor. Finn Balor had pretty much got a counter and a roll-up on Baron Corbin. That's how he was able to get the W. Counter, roll-up, 1, 2, 3. That's pretty much it. But, you know, I would have to say that Baron Corbin, dude, he's really finally starting to grow on me. This match that he had tonight, I must say, I was quite entertained. I legitimately was. And I know Baron Corbin rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I know there's a lot of things that he says on social media that people just don't like about him, and they call him an asshole and all this other stuff. And I've gone on record only once just basically saying, Baron, don't even worry about them. You know, don't worry about what other people are saying about you. You know, just as long as you're happy, man, that's all that really fucking matters. Just go out there, handle your business in the ring, and nothing else really matters, you know. But as far as what I've been seeing of him these past couple of weeks, you know, I must admit, when we first had heard about this new role, him as the constable and all that, you're kind of, what? And I wanted to shit on it off the break. But I said, no, you know, let me actually take a step back and let me just see how this all plays out over the course of a couple of weeks. And it just seems that he is getting better and better, not just personality-wise and on the mic, but I would have to say the little bit that I've been seeing of him the past couple of weeks, and it was definitely noticeable tonight, even though he didn't have his shirt off and all that. It looks as though maybe he's kind of toning up a little bit. I'm not sure how many of you guys were paying attention, but I don't know. Maybe the clothes are too tight. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, if you put really small, tight-looking clothes on somebody, yeah, maybe they might look like they're working out more. But I don't know. To me, it just seems like maybe Baron's kind of bulking up just a little tiny bit more. So I always like to believe that there is a reason why we see certain people that, in the case of Baron Corbin, is continuing to wear the type of outfits that he's wearing, and he's not coming out to ring gear and everything like that. You know, no different than that time period where Triple H was running around wearing shorts, right? Anybody remember that? Remember when Triple H was wearing shorts? I'm not talking about the vintage Triple H days. I'm talking about in the later years when Triple H was wearing shorts, and I'm sure that's a period that he really doesn't think too fondly of either, because he had picked up an excessive amount of weight during that period as well, and it wasn't packing in the right areas, sadly, right? But as it was documented, he was, you know, going through some injuries and, you know, just really trying to, you know, take care of himself and trying to figure out how to reset and everything. But I would have to say that period was probably the most heaviest that we had saw Triple H, like, for his entire career. But to me, it just looks like Baron's actually been doing a little bit more in the gym. I mean, only time will tell. But I exceptionally enjoyed what I saw of him in the ring tonight. A lot more smoother. I didn't, you know, normally I'm so used to watching a Baron Corbin match, and okay, that's sloppy. That was way off. That wasn't timed right. Ah, damn, dude, you're just clunky in the ring. But no, he's really been coming off more smoother in the ring these past couple of months. And tonight, I just really kind of took a step back and just really watched him with a fresher set of eyes than I have in previous months. And he's coming around. He's finally starting to win me over. I just hope that consistency, which can be a good thing. I just hope that he's actually able to continue to do it. Yeah. See, let's continue on. Let's talk about some more of these matchups here. So we had the SmackDown Women's title match. Asuka taking on Carmella. So here was our second match of the night where it's just what the fuck. I just did not understand the booking for this matchup. I really did not. Now, I could make sense out of the B team becoming Raw Tag Team Champions, and we just explained that. So for those of you that in particular are coming on board via YouTube Live, cool new feature that YouTube had rolled out some months back. You can now rewind as you're checking out a live web stream. So you can easily go back, check out all the previous stuff that we had just talked about. But we're not rehashing what we covered with the B team, but kind of forgivable when you really stop and think about everything that I had said. But this match for the SmackDown Women's title is not forgivable in my book. And let me see if I got this straight. Oh my God. This was just so stupid. Okay, look, I think many of us can be in agreement. When we heard that James Ellsworth was going to be suspended, basically like in a shark cage or whatever, kind of convenient because it's Shark Cage week. On a side note, any Doctor Who fans, I'm curious, what did you guys make of the newest trailer for Doctor Who? I'm actually eagerly anticipating it. I must say that I came on a little bit late with Doctor Who. Love me some David Tennant, though. Definitely, hands down, all-time best Doctor Who. But the guy that looked like Skip Bayless, that was the successor, he actually did pretty good, too. But I'm actually looking forward to this new season of Doctor Who because I want to see how this young lady does in the role. But you know, for me, Shark Week and all that, okay, James Ellsworth, okay, yeah, I get it. Shark Week, yeah, whatever. We knew he was going to be getting out of this cage. We knew that. You know, as soon as I heard the type of match, I'm going, okay, so they're basically going to pull a Jericho when Jericho was suspended. Okay, I get that. But what I didn't understand afterwards was Ellsworth figures out a way to get out of the cage. I mean, figure out a way. I think the man had a key, did he not? He actually had a key. And how did he get the key? Did he pay one of the officials? Like, how exactly did that come up? Like, I'm just looking at that spot, kind of wondering, you know, what happened, right? I thought, honestly, he was going to be extremely skinny. I was looking for a spot where maybe he was gonna dig into his pockets and maybe he was gonna pull out a bottle of some KY jelly, rub himself on down, squeeze in between the bars because he's just so thin. He's just so small. I was expecting for that to happen, and maybe he was going to get out that way, but no, we didn't get that. As far as I know, he had a key, and he pretty much was able to get himself out, but his foot was caught up. So his foot is caught up with the steel cage floor structure. As a result, Asuka sees this and she has this guy right where she wants him because he's just dangling. She's already taken Carmella out of commission temporarily, so she just starts going and wailing with the flying missed punches and missed kicks. Nothing was connecting whatsoever. I get the whole notion of, okay, look, because of the position that he's in, I don't really want to, because I'm afraid I might injure him. Okay, I get that, but don't you think you can lay in a little bit more mustard to try to make it look legit that you're hitting this guy? Botchamania is going to be having a lot of fun with the flying missed punches and kicks that Asuka was doing. So you have officials that come in. They are basically trying to secure James Ellsworth. They're actually trying to lower the cage down so that they can help James Ellsworth, but also put him back in there and maybe potentially raise the cage even higher so he can't get out. Now, you would think that this would be a golden opportunity while James Ellsworth is, sorry for the pun, but is tied up, that maybe this would give Asuka a chance to say, okay, I finally got this little blonde-haired girl right where I want her, one-on-one. Now she's all mine. Let's go there. But her eyes, like, it's like Carmella does not exist anymore. It's like Carmella went into the Twilight Zone. She just vaporized into thin air. And now Asuka is just infatuated with James Ellsworth. And then all of a sudden, from behind, we see Carmella basically ram the back of Asuka into the steel cage structure, the steel cage box structure. Asuka knocked out cold. Carmella goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3, retains the SmackDown Women's title that way. Now, all of this that you're hearing, you're probably saying to yourself, well, Lee, that kind of sounds like maybe that might have been a very entertaining matchup. It depends. It depends. Do you like a match that is less than 5 minutes long? Because that's basically the match in a nutshell. Strip away the entrances and all that, and you were lucky if maybe what you saw in the ring was about 3 minutes long. And my God, the amount of shit that was heaped upon via social media for WWE booking and producing this type of shit. This was garbage. I'm sorry. For me, this was absolute garbage. Take the social media now. Appreciate those of you that were interacting. God, I love what Carol Ann had said. She said, and I quote, "This Extreme Rules is just not good tonight at WWE." Supercard fan 412, why was Asuka going undefeated for so long just to job to a low-level champ like Carmella? Will Asuka ever be champ on SmackDown? Or are we looking at a year-long reign for Carmella? Catwoman 13, wow, such bullshit. I shouldn't even be surprised, though. NWO Wolfpack TV, literally not a thing extreme about this pay-per-view so far. When is the no rope exploding barbed wire time bomb death match? Hashtag Extreme Rules. Dork Sam 83, he writes, what they've done to Asuka's character over the past few months has been pathetic. I'll read a couple of more. All mad, you mad. So instead of Asuka keeping the attack on Carmella, she turns her attention on the ring crew / Ellsworth. This booking is pure garbage. Daisy Vogue, what the fuck, WWE? Bullshit like this is why more and more people are starting to realize that New Japan Pro Wrestling is the superior product. I'll read 2-3 more for you guys. Corey McFall, can't defend that ending. I like Ellsworth and his sliminess, but can't let that go. Miss Naughty 89, so stupid. Y'all know that heifer can't wrestle. WWE, her and that bad hair weave. I mean, nice combination. You had a good amount of women that were very vocal on that finish there. And you had guys, but based on those I was private messaging and just interacting with social media forums and all that, there was droves of females that were really, really disappointed by what they had saw. I mean, not to really make it be about gender as far as who really did not like this more than the other sex, but was quite taken back by how many females. And it wasn't like, oh, these are teenage girls. I mean, we're talking women between the ages of maybe like 16 going on up to maybe in their early 30s that were crapping on this. And yeah, like I said, shortly after this match was over, if you are a hardcore fan of Asuka, you have every night to be shedding a tear right now because of that lame ass finish that you had saw. That was some poor fucking booking. The poorest booking that I've seen this calendar year so far. And I don't think anybody would dispute that, hands down. If you're an Asuka fan, you're kicking back and you're honestly saying to yourself right now, what the hell, man? What's going on with Asuka? They built her up like this juggernaut down in NXT. You take away her winning streak at the hands of Carmella at WrestleMania, right? You're going, well, maybe this is all part of some type of a plan. Maybe this is part of a plan where eventually Asuka gets back her W, but she also becomes the SmackDown Women's Champion, and maybe everything culminates at SummerSlam where Asuka defends the championship against maybe Charlotte Flair. Maybe that's how everything kind of comes back in full, so to speak. But with every single, this is just, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would agree with this assessment, which is there are a lot of people that are looking at Asuka and probably feel that, every single time this young woman steps in the ring on these major pay-per-views and she's taking these L's, it's hurting her stock more and more and more, that it's getting to that point where the fan base is soon going to become alienated, and you don't need that, because once that happens, it's kind of hard to build her back up in the fans' eyes, right? Now, I've told you guys passionately time and time again on this show that I do feel in my heart of hearts that the language barrier, without a doubt, is an issue, but at the same time, I have been so vocal about it. Even my colleagues have been very vocal about it, which is, why not just pull a New Japan Pro Wrestling move? Why not just let Asuka speak her native language? When you're watching at home, you have the English subtitle, right? And then for those that's maybe in attendance, you give them a different experience. When she's talking, backstage or whatever, you basically have a female English voiceover that comes in. That's how you do it. Has anybody ever watched the Dollars trilogy? Anybody that knows anything and is a hardcore fan about the Dollars trilogy, you know that all three movies, you know, you had your principal cast. You had Clint Eastwood, obviously, and all three. You had Lee Van Cleef, who was only in, you know, the two installments. But my point is, the principal cast, they spoke English, but everybody else did not. So eventually, when it came to the English dub over and all that, Clint Eastwood and crew, you know, they pretty much had to go in and, you know, kind of like put their parts in or whatever. Then, of course, everybody else that wasn't speaking English during filming, you had to get the proper dubbing for them. I don't see what the hell is so hard about getting fucking English voiceover. And I agree. That's exactly the point that I'm making, DJ Subia, which is, yes, Asuka does come off more menacing. She comes off more, this bitch is crazy. I don't think I really want to be messing with her when she's talking in her native language. I mean, can you just picture those times where somebody's rubbing her the wrong way and she just goes, eh? Yeah, I mean, it's like, shit. It's like, I don't think I want to mess with this girl anymore, man. You know, I'm looking at the booking with Asuka and it's really, really frustrating. It really, really is, you know. Happy to say, proud to say, I definitely paid attention to her work before she came to the WWE. Hell, I stayed over the years looking at compilation matches of hers, trying to one day on my checklist, you know, go to the right websites and get freaking like a box set DVD of some of her greatest stuff and all that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's coming to the WWE. Fantastic. But like, it's frustrating to see that, you know, Asuka, this great buildup that she had in NXT, and you're trying to make sense out of, okay, she lost that WrestleMania. She's going to get it back. But now you're just kind of going, really, what's the motivation here other than to be a gear? Because that's literally how she's coming off now. She's just coming off like a gear. That honestly, and you know what's even more infuriating, what's even more frustrating, guys, is the fact that Carmella, God, I gotta spend a little bit of time on Carmella here. I got to. I'm gonna piss a lot of people off. I don't care. I'm not in this to be popular. I told you guys that. I say what's on my mind. Whether you all agree or disagree, you know, if anything, I don't mind having a discussion. But Carmella is a mediocre wrestler at best. There is nothing spectacular about her in the ring. There is nothing memorable about her, to the point she has been on the SmackDown main roster now for how long? It feels like she's been there for about maybe a year, maybe a little bit more. Can anybody, my challenge, anybody, without looking anything up, sincerely, without looking anything up, can anybody give me her top 5 greatest matches of all time? Can anybody give me top 5 matches? And I don't mean, you know, oh, well, Charlotte had, no. Give me her top 5 matches since she has been on the SmackDown roster where she really bust her ass and she really put it all out there in the middle of that ring. And you walked away going, God damn, Carmella has, wow, in the ring, leaps and bounds. My God, she is just, wow. I can't name 5, and I bet you nobody else out there can name 5, let alone even 1. And that is the problem. You know, Paul Heyman, when he was running ECW, he was the genius of masking people's vulnerabilities. Sandman couldn't wrestle. He knew how to get behind all that. Sandman really couldn't cut a promo worth a damn. He wasn't a mic, he wasn't a mic talker. He knew how to go around that. Right? Carmella, if I would have been booking this match, considering all the stuff that Asuka was doing before the WWE, I really would have booked this match in such a way I would have had Asuka have a bit of a mean streak. And I would have had her take a kendo stick and all types of crap to Asuka, beat the holy crap out of her. Seriously. I would have been doing some booking like that rather than that lame ass finish that we saw tonight. Just so at least you could have the commentators and maybe build up, hey, never saw this side of Carmella before. My God, especially when they talk about where she's from and all that. Don't they still dub her from being from Jersey or whatever? So, if that's the case, usually they say that the people in freaking Jersey, they're freaking, they got that mean streak going on and all that. So really nerve-wracking, just really, really nerve-wracking. She's not good in the ring. Promos, her promos are okay. It's nothing memorable. She's making her strides on the mic. I'll definitely give her that. But when I look at the current crop of females that are on the SmackDown side of things, I see you, Naomi. I see you, Becky Lynch. I see you, Peyton Royce. I even see you, Billie Kay. I see all of these women. And I'm scratching my head. Hell, I could even, maybe to a certain degree, I could even put Lana over Carmella to a certain degree. Tamina, whenever she comes back, I don't know what show she's going to be on, but, that's another one. There's so many other women. That's all I got to say. All right, let's go to our next matchup. That was one drizzling what the hell, though. So from one what the fuck to our next what the fuck, which was the what the fuck of the night, because it was 6 seconds long after you got past the entrances. The match itself, it only lasted 6 seconds. And newsflash. While I was on social media and I saw the conclusion of this matchup, how people were reacting to it, one lame ass. Now look, guys, I love and respect any and everybody. I do. But when I see stupid, silly shit, like somebody saying that Jeff Hardy, Shinsuke Nakamura, a 6-second match is 3.75 out of 5 stars. What the flying fuck are you smoking? Like, seriously. And this was, my God, this wasn't even a fan. This was actually a podcast that actually gave that rating. Wait a minute. Do you even understand the metrics of 1 star to 5 stars? You basically said that this was almost a 4-star matchup in your estimation. I had to do a double take when I saw that. I'm going, wait a minute. How do you even really? I mean, stop and think about this, because this is pretty much Jeff Hardy, Shinsuke Nakamura in a nutshell. The referee is about to call for the bell, but Shinsuke Nakamura, he decides he's going to do a cheap blow, and he decides he's going to just hit the living shit out of Jeff Hardy in the balls. Jeff Hardy goes down. Referee steps in, tells Shinsuke to go to his corner, checks on Jeff, says, Jeff, come on, you want to go ahead with this? You want to do this match, man? You and Jeff's like, yeah, I'm okay. Let's go ahead. Let's do this. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. Go ahead. Ring the bell. Go ahead. Ring the bell. Ref rings the bell. And off the gate, we see Shinsuke Nakamura connect with a Kinshasa to win the United States title. All that in 6 seconds. Now, I ask you, how the hell is that a 3.75 out of 5 stars. How the hell is somebody explain that to me? How is what we just saw in 6 seconds almost 4 out of 5? Please, guys, leave the star rating system to Dave Meltzer. Please. Please. I beg you. I beg you. You see, it's stuff like that that sometimes give all podcasts a bad rep sometimes. Seriously. I saw this, not the rating. I'm talking about the match itself. I saw this, I cringed. I was expecting a really, really good matchup. And you know, when I say I was expecting a really good matchup, I wasn't expecting no 30-minute extravaganza. But if you ask me if I was expecting at least almost a 14-minute matchup, hell yeah, I was at least expecting something along those lines. Did not like that finish whatsoever. Now, some people, they may say, well, maybe Jeff is injured and maybe he just needs a little bit of time off or whatever. And you know what? We'll learn a little bit more by Tuesday night. I'm sure we'll learn a little bit more by Tuesday night, you know. But on a brighter note, it was great seeing the Viper, Randy Orton. Viper actually came out and he did a great stare down to Shinsuke. Shinsuke's already got the title and he's already rolled out of the ring. So they're pretty much just staring each other down. And eventually we see Randy Orton shift his focus to Jeff Hardy, who is still staggering. He's trying to get up, but he's still on the ground. We see Randy Orton come on over, flip Jeff Hardy on his back, spread his legs apart, and just boom, foot stomp to the groin. And that pretty much was the end of that. So you looked at that spot and you're kind of going, so what is Randy Orton's now a heel? You know, he's got some unfinished business with Jeff Hardy? Well, you know, what's going on here? But I'm actually kind of happy to see that we've got Randy Orton back. I've definitely missed the guy. It always sucks when he's not around. I know some people kind of feel, oh, he's boring, he's a bit robotic and all this other stuff. But if you really stop and think about it, in the later years, Randy Orton has really been building a nice groove, been putting a lot more personality out there and everything. And his matches have just been more entertaining. You know, he's kind of got that Shawn Michaels type of deal going on these days, man. He comes back, work a couple of feuds for a few months, leaves for a couple of months, spends that time with the family. I love it. I love it. It kind of makes us appreciate Randy Orton that much more when he comes back. So the timing of him back, impeccable, especially with SummerSlam on the horizon and everything. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. If you are, smash that like button. And if you're new, please do consider subscribing. Lee Sanders is the name. You're checking out our WWE Extreme Rules 2018 after show. I appreciate the inquiry about being a moderator on the channel. At this point, I have everything under control. The one time that we did try to seek out a moderator, and then the guy was very butthurt about it. The guy, he didn't even make it to his first week as a moderator, and he was, oh, my work schedule. And I've just kind of gotten to that point, boys and girls, where it's like, if I could depend on anybody to do something and do something right and do something efficient, I could depend on myself. So at least that way, if there's a fuck up, I know I'm the one that is responsible for the fuck up. So it's nobody's fault but mine, like that Led Zeppelin song goes. So I appreciate the inquiry, but no, you know, and to anybody that really wants to be a fan of the RCWR show, you want to show like your ultimate support and everything, the best support that you can give me is 3 things. 1, when I tell you guys that merchandise is out, scrounge up the money when you can, you know, and check it out. Now, if you're checking out the stream on YouTube, you'll see at the video down below, there's actually a little store that we opened up now. So you can go buy some merchandise that way. And in the coming weeks, I'll definitely add a couple of more designs. Another way you can support the show, aside from listening and downloading, you can also be my Patreon member. You know, if you really like the show like that and you really want to do something for the show, you really want to represent, be a Patreon member for just $5 a month. You can check out bonus audio, video content, exclusive RCWR show content. You get access to our new series, Wrestling with the Topics. Great stuff that we put out. That's actually hosted by me and the missus. Matter of fact, we have a free for all episode that we put out on the downloads and on demand. Because if you guys remember, we did a poll with you guys a couple of weeks ago asking you all, you know, hey, this is what we're thinking. And you guys were like, yeah, if you could release a couple of Wrestling with the Topics on the downloads, that would kind of be cool, actually. So we have released that. You also get access to what's the other series? 30 with Lee, for you guys that love movies, all that cool stuff. You know, you can check that out as well. But do consider being a Patreon member. Everything just begins at just $5. I mean, for $5, you can't beat that. You basically get like freaking, there's like, I'm trying to think how many episodes off the break. I think like overall, there's like about over 20 episodes off the break that you can access beginning at just $5. You can't fucking beat that. So sign up, patreon.com/RCWR show. Speaking of our Patreon members, we definitely want to recognize some of our Patreon members right now and our special sponsors, because without their kind contributions helping us out and everything, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be free. So we definitely want to recognize our Patreon members. Shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to the beautiful and the lovely Courtney Summers. Shout out to Michael Wolf, John Raymond Jr., and John Davis. Love the RCWR show. Want more content? Be sure to check us out and other great shows on the Epic Sports channel at youtube.com/Epic Sporting. You know, and most people type in Epic Sports, you get something completely different. It's actually Epic Sporting. Yeah, so Epic Sporting. Let's continue on, man. We got some more matches we need to get into, and we're almost, where are we now? So we got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got about 6 more matches to talk about. And we've been on for almost 90 minutes. Let's see if we can blaze through the rest of these. And then I want to get to you guys' comments in the chat and gauge you all on what you had thought about the pay-per-view overall. 2 polls are up right now on Twitter and on YouTube. The RCWR show. YouTube, click on the communities tab, and we got the poll up that way asking y'all, what did you think about the pay-per-view event? So we had probably hands down the best match of the night, which was Kevin Owens taking on Braun Strowman, steel cage match. That match wasn't even 15 minutes long. It's averaging almost about 10 minutes, maybe slightly over 10 minutes. That one was, you know, I actually was expecting for Braun Strowman to win this. Technically, he did, but he did not, right? So when you get down to what's in the books as far as the win and the losses, Kevin Owens defeated Braun Strowman by escaping the cage, but it's the way that Kevin Owens was able to escape the cage that made you go, holy crap. And you actually felt very sympathetic towards Kevin Owens as a result, because you see at one point, and I love how this match was booked. I love that Kevin Owens was actually bringing the fight to Braun Strowman. I loved it. I mean, all that was just great. And then we had the spot there where Kevin Owens actually had handcuffed one of Braun Strowman's wrists to the ring ropes. And I mean, he is just like taunting the hell out of Braun. What are you going to do now? Huh? What are you going to do now? And Braun with one hand just grabs Kevin Owens by the neck, choke slams his ass, and he's going back to that handcuffed wrist on the apron, trying to figure out how to rip that bad boy off or whatever. And Kevin Owens actually goes to the other side of the ring, starts to climb up the steel cage structure, blows a kiss at Braun and everything. And I don't know about you guys, but I actually was getting a little bit concerned as far as, okay, well, what's Braun going to do? How's he going to get out of this? Because I thought I was getting ready to come on here and say this is another case of stupid booking 101, because I'm going, wait a minute. Braun was in the same position before a couple of months ago, and we saw how he was able to get out. So you're telling me Braun is going to forget that all of a sudden? Like, come on here. And just when I was beginning to get to the end of that thought in my mind, we see Braun, he just literally yanks his goddamn wrist. And I mean, he just basically breaks that chain off the handcuff. So, I mean, he still has the first part of the handcuff around his wrist, but the rest of it is still on the apron. And he just rushes. I mean, I've never seen such a man as big and tall as Braun Strowman with such ease climb up the steel cage almost like a damn cruiserweight, right? I mean, he climbed that joint like it was nothing, right? Like it was water. And we see him grab Kevin Owens by the neck, and they're both standing tall on top of the steel cage structure, and you're going, this is dangerous. Something bad is about to go down right here. What's going to go down? And to see Braun Strowman choke slam the hell out of Kevin Owens, sending him flying outside the ring through the announcer's table, I'm going, oh, what a spot. Now, see, there was a part of me that was going, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Kevin went flying through the table. So unless footage shows that Kevin hit the table and then his feet went to the floor, Braun could actually technically still win this, because the rule is first feet to hit the floor, or you exit the traditional way, have the referee open the steel cage door and you go out that way, right? So, you know, I'm looking at the footage and the replay and I'm like, oh, and they showed it a couple of times. I'm going, nope, Kevin Owens, yes, he hit the announcer's table, went crashing through it, but he rolled to the floor surface. His feet did officially touch the floor. So, yes, he did win, but that would have been a nice little twist. But you couldn't help but, when you see that, it was almost great reverse psychology to a certain degree, because it was almost reverse psychology because just the way that Braun Strowman had manhandled, destroyed, just decimated the hell out of Kevin Owens, you couldn't help but feel sympathetic towards Kevin Owens and almost kind of crap on Braun Strowman for what he did, right? If you really kind of just take a step back and you look at the entire picture, because it's like, was that really necessary? Was that really necessary for Braun to do that heinous act on Kevin Owens? It was a sick ass spot. I mean, that's pretty much that match in a nutshell. It was about that choke slam. Everything was built up for that spot. Loved it. And now all eyes is pretty much set on Monday Night Raw, because we've got Braun Strowman, who is Monster in the Bank. I'm sure he's going to be paying attention very closely to what's going to be happening with Brock Lesnar. That was news that was shared all throughout the night. For those of you that noticed that WWE did not mention, fresh off of the UFC pay-per-view event, they did not make any reference to Brock Lesnar at all. Well, very good reason. They pretty much had saved it for the pay-per-view. So Kurt Angle was interviewed at one point backstage, and he basically said, hey, look, depending on what happens with the Roman Reigns and the Bobby Lashley matchup, it may help clear up a few things as far as what could possibly be next for Brock Lesnar. But I tell you what, him showing up at the UFC event, getting in the face of the champion, challenging the champion, not meeting any of his commitments here in the WWE. We had a tournament a couple of weeks back where we're going to try to see if we could crown a new #1 contender to take him on. negotiations with Brock Lesnar, his team, Paul Heyman, all that didn't fall through. He left us hanging. Now he did what he did at UFC. Brock Lesnar has three options. Either Brock Lesnar comes to Monday Night Raw, or Brock Lesnar comes to some type of an arrangement as far as who his next opponent is going to be. Or if Brock Lesnar does not do those first two things, Brock Lesnar is going to find himself stripped of the Universal Championship. So the thing I think that is most interesting that everybody needs to home in on is the fact that Kurt Angle said, if Brock Lesnar does not show up on Monday Night Raw. So wait a minute. So if Brock shows up, then what? Like everybody's in the clear, right? You know, come on now. We kind of got to shoot that because that one could kind of look at that as still as a loophole as far as, and I'm just kind of thinking ahead a little bit. You know, if I wanted to play around with this as a writer, I would definitely have Paul Heyman pretty much cut one epic promo. And I mean, just the way it kind of feels right now with the story arc, it genuinely does feel as though storyline wise, Brock Lesnar is turning his back on the WWE. It does feel like he is taking a massive shit on the WWE. I would not be surprised if the type of promo that Paul Heyman had cut on Raw tomorrow night, because they are going to be there. Let's make no mistake, they are going to be there. But I feel that the type of promo that Paul E is going to be cutting tomorrow night, you know, he's basically going to be laying heavy into the WWE and talking about how there's no worthy contenders and pretty much chop them all down to size. And I wouldn't be surprised if the winner of the Roman Reigns Bobby Lashley match comes out to confront Brock Lesnar. And then maybe you also have a cameo by Braun Strowman. So there's a lot of different elements that's going on. Let's go to that next matchup. Let's talk about Bobby Lashley taking on Roman Reigns. I think I might be going a little bit out of order, but that's okay. I'm actually just one match over the next one we're supposed to talk about, but it's kind of a good segue. So we had Bobby Lashley taking on Roman Reigns. That actually was, you know what? It's what we all had thought. You see the names on paper, you're going, these guys should actually pull out a pretty decent matchup. And it actually was a really good matchup. I couldn't have been more prouder of both men. They really went out there and they busted their ass. I gotta say though, you know, as far as looking at this Philly crowd, I'm sorry, this Pennsylvania crowd, they really were a bit indifferent to Bobby Lashley. From the moment that he came out, you kind of felt like they tolerated him, but it was Roman Reigns that was getting more of the reactions. It seemed like Roman was kind of getting a little bit more cheers than boos when he came out. But when Lashley came out, it was a little bit indifferent, mild cheers, but a little bit mixed. Mostly silent, basically. And, you know, if you're a fan of Bobby Lashley and you're seeing him work Roman many spots during the bout, you see Lashley looking at the fans, throwing his fists in the air, you know, yeah, you know, and you know, pointing to the air and, you know, trying to rally up the crowd. And they really weren't giving in. They really, really weren't. He was busting his ass. He went out there like he was a man on a mission tonight. Both men were, but really Lashley seemed as though he really took it up a notch. And closing moments, great back and forth. Great back and forth. I mean, 1 minute you got Bobby Lashley delivering his trademark spear. Not quite enough to take out Roman. Roman comes in with his Superman punch. Nope, that quite not enough. Guys, I can't remember if Roman was even able to do the spear on Lashley. I kind of want to say maybe there was one spear by Roman to Lashley, but Lashley had kicked out of that one. I mean, it was a really good back and forth matchup. We actually ended up seeing Bobby Lashley come out on top. Bobby Lashley, I wish I was telling a joke to you guys, but I called it when I was offering match predictions for this pay-per-view event, and I went into detail. I said, look, Lashley needs this win more so than Roman Reigns, because you look at the long drought that Bobby Lashley has spent away from the WWE, right? And literally, you look at Bobby Lashley and you compare him to when we last saw him in a WWE ring 10 years ago. You're practically looking at the same man. It's like the man found some type of a fountain of youth and he just remained the same age, like physically and all that. I mean, if anything, he's just gotten even more defined and a little bit more bigger since he's been away from the WWE. But for me, I looked at this win for Bobby Lashley being very essential from the standpoint of this is about reestablishing Bobby Lashley as one of the WWE main eventers. I looked at this as reestablishing a man that the first rodeo round brought a lot of good things, a lot of promising things when he was in the WWE. And, you know, sadly, it's going to be a case of those what ifs, you know, as far as, well, what if Lashley would have stayed in the WWE? What would have become of him? All signs somewhat indicate that Lashley maybe would have been a multi-time WWE champion. All signs kind of point to that direction. I mean, after all, and I'm glad that the commentators acknowledged it, because it was like a rare moment that they acknowledged it. And they only mentioned it sporadically here and there. They kind of treat it like maybe sushi. You know, you eat too much sushi, it's bad for you. It's a delicacy. But I loved hearing them talk about, hey, you know, Lashley knows a thing or two about Extreme, because remember the ECW pay-per-view and he had faced Vince McMahon for the ECW title, and I'm glad that they had acknowledged that. I'm glad that they had acknowledged that history and all that. You know, you can't help but wonder, you know, where Lashley would be at this point in time if he had stayed in the WWE, for the simple fact, and the reason why I keep going on and on about this is because you had guys like Dusty Rhodes, you know, that was still around and everything. Booker T, to a degree, was also lending a hand, so to speak. So you can't help but wonder if Lashley would have stayed, if, as far as finally getting down that charisma, getting down the mic skills and all that, knowing how to work the crowd, if all of those basic fundamentals really would have taken him to that next level. Because sadly, it just kind of seems like when you look at his time in TNA, it seemed like he picked up a little something over there, but it doesn't really seem as though, okay, this is what we're going to work on, and we're going to continue to work on these things until you finally get it down and you start you know, it wasn't anything like that at all, which is kind of weird considering, because you can look at a guy like the Blueprint, Matt Morgan, and you could see the progress that he was making overall while he was in Impact and everything. Certain guys you look at in EC3, it's another one. Kind of interesting when you really kind of stop and think about it. But I'm seeing in the chat, apparently it was 2 Superman punches, then goes for a spear, and then got caught by Lashley's second spear. That pretty much was the bookend to that matchup between Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley. But no, Lashley, for me in my book, and the way I was looking at this when I was offering predictions, Lashley needed this to basically be reestablished as one of the marquee guys, right? And not to mention the fans, which is another point that I brought up earlier this week. I said, you know, the fans, they honestly do not want to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns again. They don't want to see that. And to give them that, you're almost guaranteeing that these guys are going to be booed out of the damn arena. So no, that's not a smart move. That's not the route that you want to go. You got to keep those two separated right now. So to know that we're potentially going to be getting Lashley versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, I'm actually all fine for it, because quite honestly, you've got your MMA fans, in particular, you've got your UFC fans. Hell, you've got wrestling fans that has been their dream match. Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, what would happen? You've got people that have been wanting to see that for a long time now. But the $1 million question is, how much of a factor, if at all, is Braun Strowman going to be playing in that matchup? Curious minds want to know. Going to make a very interesting Monday Night Raw, though, when it's all said and done in less than 24 hours. Let's keep going. Bludgeon Brothers, they had retained the tag titles over Kane and Daniel Bryan. I must say I was a bit surprised with that. I was under the impression that I'm sure many of us were under the impression that maybe Team Hell No was going to walk away with the tag titles. Just allow me to just skip over this match. I mean, seriously, because I know I keep getting the hate because I keep crapping on the Bludgeon Brothers, and it's like, you're picking on my Harper and Rowan, man. It's like they just, this incarnation, make no mistake about it, just this incarnation of the Bludgeon Brothers, it's just not doing it for me. It's just not, and to basically feed Team Hell No to these guys, it's just, at this point, I would rather see Sanity as the tag team champions right now, as opposed to the Bludgeon Brothers. That's just how up to here I am with the Bludgeon Brothers. Alexa Bliss defeats Nia Jax. Extreme Rules match for the Raw Women's title. And I mean, you knew that what it really was going to come down to was Ronda Rousey. How much of a factor was she going to play into this? Closing moments, you basically had this one spot where I want to say Mickie James was attacking Natty, and Ronda didn't like what she was seeing. She didn't like that her little buddy was getting attacked like that. So she was with her boyfriend. I want to say maybe her agent or whatever. And I think it's funny because all throughout the night, we see Ronda Rousey. She's got these nice, she has this nice, happy look on her face. She looks like a 12-year-old kid that, is finding out about wrestling for the very first time. And she is just ecstatic. She's on cloud 9 and everything. And then the minute that she sees Alexa Bliss, she just starts looking like the Miz girl. That's the best way I can sum it up. She starts looking like the Miz girl. I just thought that was so freaking hilarious. I did. And she's just making the mean mug the entire time. I'm going, we just saw you making smiley faces and everything. It's like, now you want to put on a mean, like, go ahead, man, whatever. But no, we saw the spot that went down there. And you knew Ronda was going to get involved. It was just a matter of how. So she actually went in there, started beating the holy hell out of Mickie James. And it kind of seemed to me as though Ronda wasn't sure what to do with the first spot there with Mickie James. Remember, she grabbed Mickie by the full set of hair and, basically trying to swing her up against one side of the barricade, but you still had Natty on her back over by that barricade. So you're kind of like, okay, is that really going to work, or is that a little bit kind of sloppy? And she did bang her over on that side. Luckily, Mickie came out all right, but then Ronda grabs her, swings Mickie on over to the other side. And then I loved how Ronda takes Mickie and tries to fling her ass into the ring. But Mickie, honey child, boo-boo child, honey, come on now. If you know you gonna be getting physical, you really should not be wearing them heels. I mean, we see Mickie and she just fumbles that all up, man. It was like Mickey was supposed to go flying in there, but she does not go flying in there. Instead, it's just here we go. Well, wait a minute now. And Mickey's actually trying to get one leg up, and Ronda realizes like, okay, she's fucking up here, and so she just hurries up and just crams her ass in there. It reminded me of this infamous clip, and I would highly encourage you guys to go check it out online. Type in a Bing or Google search, model falls on runway. You'll know it when you see it. There is a model. She has this poofed out frizzy hair. It was one of the last tweets I had put out, and she's wearing these big orange stacks, and she's trying to walk back towards the gorilla position, you know, after she makes her way through the catwalk and everything. And it kind of reminded me of Mickie James, right? And I mean, this girl, it's like, whoa, 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 and she falls. She actually fell twice. It was hilarious, just fucking hilarious. But when I saw Mickie James with that spot, she literally reminded me of that model on the catwalk. It was just great stuff. But no, so Ronda eventually gets her in there, and trying to picture what had happened after that. I remember Ronda once again got physical with Mickey. She did something. Mickey was out of the equation for a hot second. And then, you know what? Let's go to the notes, because I did take some notes down as far as how that match had played out. So let me actually go to how that. That's what happened. Right. Okay, so from there, Ronda was actually ready to get her hands on Alexa Bliss, and Alexa actually was hauling ass. I mean, she was trying to take her title and run, but then Ronda actually had caught up with her and was getting ready to lay it into her, but then Mickey had came from behind, attacked her and everything, and pretty much took Ronda out of commission. And then from there was a double team on Nia Jax. Nia Jax, not really much of a factor as far as you look at the impressive outing that she had last month. You know, you're like, wow, you know, good job, Nia. But this go around, Nia kind of really just taking a little bit more of a step back and everything. I mean, early on, she showed some pretty good offense and everything. You know, a lot of strong man power moves and everything, sending Alexa crashing through a couple of trash cans, lids and everything. But closing moments of this one, pretty much Mickie James runs in, hits Jax with a steel chair, try to stop a Samoan drop that Nia was looking to do on Alexa Bliss. And then Bliss just comes in with chair shots of her own to Jax, follows that up by dropping the chair in the middle of the ring. Make sure that Nia Jax's face is pretty much right up under that chair, and does a low DDT. Pretty much retains her title that way. So one thing that was stressed was the fact that when it comes to the suspension of Ronda Rousey, Wednesday is when it expires. So I would expect some groundbreaking news as far as SummerSlam. I'm not sure at this point if it's going to be a triple threat for that Raw Women's title, or if maybe it's going to be Ronda taking on Alexa. But I mean, either way we win, because either way we're going to see Ronda in there. So I see a question being asked about what's my take on Kane's character. Would I go in a different route? Man, we've been talking about like Undertaker. Is this going to be it for him? What's going on with Taker? And, you know, and now we got Kane. Forgive me, but I'm not going to talk about Kane. I have a lot more to say about Kane, but it has more to do with what's going on in his personal life as opposed to the WWE ring. So, I mean, it's a good question, but it's more suitable for Tuesday's show. So I'll tune in for that one. I'll actually get into that one. All right, let's see. Let's keep going here. How many more matches we got? So we talked about that one. AJ Styles, Rusev, WWE Championship match. That actually was a pretty damn good matchup. That actually was another one. So, you know, as you get later into the card, they kind of started to redeem themselves just a little bit. And I tell you what, AJ Styles defeating Rusev for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles made Rusev look like $1 million. He did. If you are a fan of Rusev, even though he lost, you couldn't have been more prouder of the guy, because with a great dance partner in AJ Styles making Rusev look like $1 million, to the point, in my estimation, I'm not sure how it is for a lot of you all, but in my estimation, this match with AJ Styles, for the length that it was on for, helped elevate Rusev to the point that you can now officially look at him almost in that same limelight as Bobby Lashley, when we were talking about earlier. You know, you can definitely say that with regards to Rusev is going to be not only a force to reckon with for years to come, but you can also definitely jump out there with an impressive matchup that he had with AJ and say, you know what, still a relatively young man. Rusev is only 33. Long ways to go until he's 34. Won't be happening actually until Christmas. You can actually say that Rusev is going to be a heavyweight champion one day, just based off of the way that he was able to carry himself. I mean, he carried himself with great poise. Did not look nervous or whatever. I mean, he did exceptionally well, exceptionally well. You know, and I think that's a testament to how far along Rusev has come, quite honestly. And I couldn't have been more prouder. I really, really couldn't. I mean, I had the biggest smile on my face just seeing Rusev and just really thinking about, you know, how far along he's come, some of the crap that was going on with him when one, he cut his hair, and supposedly he didn't run that by management. And then of course he had the stuff that Lana was doing with her social media account and everything, and you know, that supposedly rubbed management the wrong way. Just so much silly crap, just distractions, I like to call them. You know, and it did kind of look as though Rusev was in some type of purgatory status, yeah. But it's actually a damn good technical match, and I mean, I love the fact that Rusev even got more leaner. The leanest I've seen him. I mean, just some weeks back, he was a little bit more bulkier, you know, toned up, but he was still bulkier. He got even more slimmed up, and I don't know if that was because he really wanted to make sure he was going to be able to hang with AJ, but he really, I could just tell physically, you know, just looking at him, his cardiovascular and just everything, watching him in the ring, way he was moving. I mean, you know, he really took it to a whole new other level tonight, and for me, definitely has my respect. You know, there was a guy that really went in there, put it all out there on the table. Notice AJ Styles got rid of the sideburns. He still has his goatee or beard or whatever, but he doesn't have the connections anymore. I thought that was kind of, you know, interesting. I wonder if he's starting to get a little bit, what's the word, tired of the beard. I like mine just fine. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep mine a little bit longer. I'm trying to keep mine at least until the wedding. So we'll see. Or actually after the wedding. So we'll see. And we got one more match to talk about. Let's go ahead. Let's go there. Closing out the pay-per-view card, it was Dolph Ziggler taking on Seth Rollins. 30-minute Iron Man match for the Intercontinental Championship match. Dolph Ziggler defeating Seth Rollins. Did I say Drew McIntyre earlier? If I did, I humbly apologize. Dolph Ziggler defeating Seth Rollins. 30-man Iron Man match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Dolph Ziggler, you know, it was 4-4. It was tied. Let's go ahead. Let's pick a look. Look, this was without a doubt. And by the time we realized that, oh crap, AJ Styles and Rusev, they're going at it. Oh, so that means Ziggler and Rollins are gonna. It was like, okay, well then, yeah, these guys are two of the best technical guys. Yeah, why not? End it on this note. Yeah, go out on a high note. So had no problem with it. IC title and all that, next prestigious title, right? From the company. No problem with this one closing it out, honestly. Um, we did see this end in a draw at 4-piece. This had prompted Kurt Angle to come out and say, no, 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 no. We're not gonna have this end like this. No, not here in my home here in Pittsburgh. No, we're not gonna end it like this. We're gonna go on ahead. We're gonna let this go to sudden death. Next pinfall wins the Intercontinental Championship. And like fucking Kurt Angle, like it's not even 30 seconds since he makes the announcement and goes backstage. And once the bell rings, we just see freaking Drew McIntyre out of nowhere. You know, he interferes once again. And you know, it played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out when I was offering predictions earlier this week. I said that, hey, you know, no shit, expect for McIntyre to get involved and, you know, try to help Ziggler, you know, go up a couple. Eventually, ref gets him out. Yeah, all that had went down. But like, it's not even 30 seconds after Kurt Angle makes the announcement that, okay, we're going to go to sudden death overtime. And out of nowhere, you see Drew McIntyre, you know, he freaking comes in and he basically distracts Rollins at the ropes. Ziggler takes advantage of this, connecting with a zigzag, and that pretty much ends it. Dolph Ziggler retains the Intercontinental Championship, and you're kind of going, for me, it was just stupid booking. It really was, because, you know, it would have made all the sense in the world for Kurt Angle to come immediately right back out and say, no, 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 no. No, we're not going this route. When I said that this is not what we're going to be doing for Pittsburgh, we're not going out like this. And Drew McIntyre, you know, you're out. If you interfere again, you're not only going to be fined, you're going to be suspended for 30 days. Like, for me, that was just really, really, it was stupid. It was stupid on so many levels. I would have just left it at 4-piece and just let Dolph Ziggler roll out with the retain. I would have just let it in like that, because it was just stupid. When you go back and you watch it, you know, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But, you know, shaky ground for that pay-per-view to begin. Really, really shaky ground. But, you know, towards the end, I would have to say I'm looking at the entire card once again. You know, the pre-show matches, okay. You know, they got a pass. They were okay. You know, I would have to say you got that middle part there. You got that part there with Carmella, Asuka, Shinsuke, Hardy. I don't think anybody's was watching the Bludgeon Brothers rooting them on. I think majority was like, come on, Daniel Bryan, come on, Kane. This was actually a pass. I'm not pulling a Dave Meltzer and going 7 stars. I'm not going that route. But I will say that as far as a thumbs up, thumbs down, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give Extreme Rules a thumbs up. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I had just teased Kane again, and I'm seeing it looks like a clarification. If they may take or do counseling with Daniel Bryan. Let me say this with regards to Kane, because I'm really not trying to go there with Kane, because the question I'm seeing in the chat, I'm not trying to act disrespectful to you guys, because this is like the part of the show where we turn it over to you and I read some of you guys' comments. The question that DJ Subia was asking earlier was basically like, what's my take on Kane's character? Would I go a different route if this is his last run? And then he's like, I just thought, what if they made Taker do counseling with Daniel Bryan? You know, honestly, for me, I've always been a fan of Glenn Jacobs, but let me put it to you this way. Short answer, I don't feel that Glenn Jacobs will ever retire from the WWE. I always feel that he's going to be working with WWE for life. And with respect and regards to what he is doing in his personal life now, he has found a higher calling. I think that higher calling really has his attention right now. And as far as the type of stuff we maybe would like to see Kane do in the WWE, I think first and foremost, it has to be done in a way where, and he's saying, no, my point is I feel they soften the Kane character so much. Okay, DJ, you forced me to go there. I only want to talk about this in 3 minutes or less. For those of you that missed it, Kane and his respected city, state, or whatever. Long story short, it looks like he has a clear-cut path to becoming a mayor. Looks like he's going to win hands down. Now, any and everybody that has been following the WWE, you've been following Kane and knowing a bit of his personal life over the years, you know he's been very passionate about politics. And it really seems like within the past 5 years, he's really been stepping it up. Now, keeping that in mind, yes, has the Kane character gotten softer? Yes, but you understand why, because of the pretense that I just laid out. So at this point, as far as, you know, how one could book Kane, I think the days of Kane doing really sick, vindictive stuff, even if it's for entertainment purposes and all that other stuff, those days I personally feel are a little bit over, because now I think more than ever, Kane, along with the bookers, they're going to have to really strategize in how they are bringing about Kane on TV, right? And they owe it to Glenn Jacobs, because the last thing you need is Glenn Jacobs' constituents going, well, look at how this guy's operating on TV, and this guy, he wants to be our mayor. You already had the guy that he's basically going to be running up against saying, I think that Glenn Jacobs has his priorities wrong. He's distracted. He shouldn't be, you know, focusing on the wrestling. If he's going to be running for mayor, then he needs to be 100% all in, and he needs to be doing the whole mayor thing. You know, if he's going to be running, he's going to be in politics, he needs to stick to politics. Like, you know, this sends a bad image. Like, what the hell is he doing? So, yeah, has the Kane character gotten softened up? Short answer, yes, but it's for very good reason. You know, it comes with the territory. That's the nature of the beast. When you call yourself going into one line of work and you're trying to go into another, and that's a dramatic leap to go from Satan's favorite demon son and all that to, hey, I need your vote for me, I want to be your mayor. Yeah, you know, if I honestly could have had it my way, I wouldn't even be booking Kane on TV. Instead, I would have Glenn Jacobs just be a WWE ambassador. I would actually have Glenn Jacobs be running around, and I would actually have him be meeting people at boys and girls clubs. I would actually have him go to schools, talk about being bullied and everything. I actually would have him maybe be a talent recruiter or whatever for the WWE, be a scouter or whatever. I definitely would be utilizing, because he's seen his fair share of matches. He's booked his fair share of matches. I definitely would rely on him as a booker, maybe for some matches, or, you know, maybe it's a situation where he's not interested in any of those things. Who knows? Maybe he was already approached about some of those things, and that's just something that, you know, but I know, if I remember it right from an interview that Triple H had with Stone Cold on the Stone Cold podcast, I mean, he really put over Glenn Jacobs and everything. And Glenn Jacobs is definitely going to have a job with WWE for life, hands down. But as far as how I personally would be using Glenn Jacobs, I would not be using him as Kane. I would be using him in the areas behind the WWE logo, where best I see fit. That's basically how I would set him up. Let's get to some more of you guys' input here in the chat. And also, let's take a look at the latest polling results we got right now. See, I don't need to go into the whole Kane spill now on Tuesday. So I guess that's kind of a good thing. All right. So right now, look at this poll that we got here. Pull this up here. Loading it up. Smash that like button, man. We're getting down to the wire here, man. Stream's almost over here. So we've got about over 100 votes coming in so far. So 8% of you are giving it a thumbs up. You heard me right. 8% of you are giving Extreme Rules a thumbs up. 32% of you are staying in the middle. 60% of you are giving it a thumbs down. Now, I should mind you guys that we put this tweet basically like WWE had promoted something on their Twitter, so we jumped in that way. And then just to RCWR Nation, 8% of you are skipping it. This is out of 25 votes. 8% of you are skipping it. 20% of you are staying in the middle. 32% of you gave it a thumbs down, and 40% of you gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Let's now go to YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab section. You'll be able to vote that way. So we got about 16 votes coming in right now. It's a tie. 25% of you are saying thumbs up. 25% of you are saying thumbs down. So there's your overall 50 right there. Meanwhile, 50% of you are staying in the middle when it comes to this pay-per-view. So is it leaning more towards the middle, or is it leaning more towards thumbs down, or maybe you want to give it a thumbs up? Sound off. I think we'll have a much better idea when we get ready to do the show on Tuesday where you all are at. Let's read some more comments here in the chat. See what you all had said about tonight's pay-per-view event here. Yes, Steven, that's exactly what we literally talked about 10 minutes ago. Steven in the chat is saying it looks like it will be a triple threat match at SummerSlam. Ronda versus Nia versus Steven, welcome. I don't know, you might have missed us about maybe 10 minutes ago, but I did say that it could go two ways, that it could either be a triple threat match or it could be Ronda taking on Alexa Bliss. Either way, I had said earlier, if you're a Ronda Rousey fan, you know, you're excited. And, you know, honestly, each time you see Ronda, she seems to be getting more and more fluid with the way she's doing some of those wrestling moves mixed in with her own martial arts style. To eyeball, no, I do not follow boxing, MMA, basketball, football. That's pretty much about as far as I go. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. See, yes, that was a crazy spot. Yeah, we had rumblings about Hulk Hogan. I got to give a shout out to my buddies over at Wrestling Soup. They had said that according to their sources, the Hulkster was in the building in Pittsburgh tonight. Not sure if he was actually at Extreme Rules or what, but the biggest piece of news that had everybody talking was the fact that the Hulkster was reinstated in the WWE Hall of Fame. All I have to say to that is, if you guys are that gullible and hook, line, sinker of a line like that, you guys will fall for anything. Now, I'll let you guys marinate on that, because I put out something on Instagram and I put out something on Facebook. Give a follow while you're at it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Use keywords the RCWR show. And basically what I had said, I'll read you the more in-depth post on Facebook here. I'm actually loading it up as we speak. And I'll let you guys see where that post is. And I said, and I quote, and I'm going to leave you guys with this, and you guys figure it out. And if you guys still haven't figured it out, then Tuesday we'll go a little bit more in detail about it. But like I said, if you guys are falling for this hook, line, and sinker, you guys are pretty gullible. I said, and I quote, I see the big talk right now going into Extreme Rules tonight is of Hulk Hogan being reinstated in the WWE Hall of Fame. I followed the Hulkster very closely over the years and not once saw a statement issued by WWE that they removed the Hulkster from the WWE Hall of Fame. They pulled him from the alumni store and Hall of Fame sections on their site and removed his name in a search on the WWE network, but never issued a statement saying he was removed from the WWE Hall of Fame. Marinate on that for a minute, folks, and see if you can solve the what the fuck with that riddle. All I have to say is some of the comments that came in, they get it. They get the riddle. So, yeah, you guys marinate on that one for a little bit. And if you still don't know what I am hinting at, it's right there in the lines. We'll talk about it more on Tuesday. See what else we got here. Shout out to damn, I just saw the guy. Hang on here. Just saw the guy. Shout out to Bracy1. Say, yeah, I remember when you covered the Rocky movies. Yeah, and I see we got Creed 2. That's going to be out this holiday season. I'm actually pretty fucking pumped for that. That's going to be a pretty damn good movie. Austin said that the Extreme Rules pay-per-view event is a no from him. As far as he's concerned, he's going to be sticking to weekly NXT. Hopefully SummerSlam will somewhat deliver. I got to tell you, there were a decent amount of people that tuned out after the Shinsuke Nakamura, Jeff Hardy. I mean, there were, on my timeline alone, people that I'm following, there were people that just literally said, fuck this. I'm like, garbage like this is why I just take breaks from WWE. Fuck this shit. I'm just going to go watch something else. I'm going to go play a video game or whatever. There were so many people that were just disengaged at that point. Believe it or not. A lot of people were disengaged. See what else we got. Shout out to Seeb. Seeb said, love your show. Been subbed for a long time. Appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. See what else we got here. I wish we were streaming on Facebook. It sucks that we weren't able to stream on Facebook because I would have loved to have gotten in our Facebook audience because we actually, you'd be surprised how many people on Facebook actually relies on the stream. And sadly, you know, they're not able to get that hookup, man. It sucks for them. See what else. Read a couple of more. Put in something here, man. See what else we got here. The devil's favorite demon. Let's see. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get into the boxing right now because it's like, you know, there's just nothing there right now. You can almost say the same goddamn thing for UFC. How they pulled that whole fucking WWE move with Brock Lesnar and everything. You couldn't time that better. And apparently Roman did not hit a spear. So Roman never even hit one spear? Wow, that's crazy. Let's see, what else we got? Let's see. Just going through a couple of more comments here. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Steve. Shout out to Katana, who says the show was decent. The Iron Man Intercontinental title match was bland. That was no Lesnar versus Angle. There was no Lesnar versus Angle. I'm trying to understand. Oh, I get what you're saying. I'm with you now. I get what you're saying. The show was decent. The Iron Man IC title match was bland. That was no Lesnar versus Angle. I get it as far as from a technical standpoint. I got you, Katana. I got you. Shout out to Brazy. See here. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Byron. Hey, Lee, liked the pay-per-view, but some endings were WTF. Shout out to GJ Subia. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to Mark Bannon, not related to Stephen Bannon. And make sure we stress that. And shout out to Eyeball. And shout out to those of you I was interacting with on Twitter and in other places. It was really awesome interacting with you guys. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stick a fork in it. I'm going to say this show is DONE done. But keep the comments and interactions coming in, man, especially for those of you that had saw the Extreme Rules event and maybe you're just now checking this out on demand or on the downloads. We all together would love to know what you had thought about the pay-per-view event. So do sign off and let us know, sound off rather, and let us know what you had thought about the event. Once again, we want to take this time out and recognize our sponsor for this episode, Santra Kitchen. Really appreciate their patience and understanding with the miscommunication we had a couple of days ago. SantraKitchen.com. These guys are awesome. Let me tell you something. If you guys are looking for mugs, kitchen appliances, any type of culinary tool, you can find it at SantraKitchen.com. And the best part, anything that you get from their website, you have 30 days to try it out. If you're not satisfied, no problem. Get your money back guaranteed. Head on over to SantraKitchen.com. That's SANTRA, SantraKitchen.com, selling the best and affordable small kitchen appliances, mugs, kitchen culinary tools, so much more, all with 30-day money-back guarantees. So check them out. Your next edition of the RCWR show going to come at you live. Spreaker, YouTube, RCWR show app, Facebook, if we can get that up and running for sure on YouTube. We'll be coming at you guys Tuesday night, July the 17th at 10 p.m. Eastern. As soon as SmackDown goes off the air, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes of the RCWR show you may have missed. Put out 2 good episodes for you guys. So you have Tuesday's RCWR show that's available on demand and on the downloads, and you have a new Wrestling with the Topics that's available on demand and on the downloads also. So if you can't get enough RCWR show, check out those pieces of bonus content as well. And you love the show, be the Patreon supporter, man. Sign up, patreon.com/RCWR show. Until next go round, wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. And hey, may the good news be yours. I'll see you next go round. Everybody do take care. Very good night. Good morning.